Understanding the verb assume. The verb assume means to take something for granted or suppose something to be true without evidence or proof. It can also mean to take on a role, responsibility, or characteristic. It is commonly used in formal and informal contexts to indicate speculation, acceptance, or taking charge. 1. To suppose something is true without evidence.
I assume you've already eaten lunch. She assumed he would be home by now.
2. To take on a role or responsibility.
He assumed the role of team leader after the manager left. The new king assumed the throne after his father's passing.
3. To adopt a characteristic or behavior.
She assumed a calm demeanor despite the stressful situation. The actor assumed the accent perfectly for his role in the movie.
4. To take something for granted or believe without question.
Don't just assume everything will go as planned. People often assume things about others without knowing their story.
Common phrases with assume. I assumed as much. I saw your car in the driveway, so I assumed as much that you were home. Don't assume anything. Don't assume anything until you've heard the full story. I assume responsibility. I assume full responsibility for the mistake in the report. It's safe to assume. With the sky so dark, it's safe to assume it will rain soon. Never assume. Never assume you know what someone else is going through. Make an assumption. It's risky to make an assumption without all the facts. More phrases using assume.
Let's not assume the worst.
I assume you understand the consequences.
We shouldn't assume anything without evidence.
I assume everything went according to plan.
It's easy to assume, but hard to know for sure.
Assuming the weather holds, we can go hiking tomorrow.
Can we assume you're joining us for dinner?
I assumed they had already left.
Don't assume they know what you're talking about.
I assumed the meeting was postponed.
I assume her reputation precedes her.
I assume you have a good reason.
I assume you'll be there.
Well, I assume you know where I am.
I assume you don't want a hug.